The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Grey.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise today to speak on a critical matter of importance to every Australian who lives or works outside of our capital cities. We are witnessing a slow collapse of our regional airline industry that has unfolded under the watch of Labor. The facts are stark, Speaker. Under this government, 2 regional airlines have collapsed. First, we saw the demise of Bonza, a low-cost carrier that promised to connect our regions, but instead left passengers stranded and Boeing 737s repossessed. And now we watch the slow and painful administration of Rex, an airline that has been the lifeline for bush communities for decades, including Ceduna, Coober Pedy, Port Lincoln and previously Whyalla and Port Augusta. Although the government is celebrating AirT's acquisition of Rex, the details of the deal paint a concerning picture. Now, the primary beneficiaries of Rex's decline seems to be the administrators, with EY collecting $25 million in fees, while the airline itself faces a heavy financial burden. The new arrangements carries forward $90 million in debt and adds $60 million as a commercial loan, and it's supplemented by $50 million from AirT themselves. Now, Speaker, this raises a critical question. How will AirT, a company with recent adjusted earnings of only $7.4 million finance such a commitment? When paired with their promise to expand an ageing fleet of 30 aircraft to 44, the viability of the plan is uncertain. What happens in the future when the new owners realise, as others have, that serving our remote communities is difficult? The government has pumped over $160 million of taxpayer money into keeping Rex afloat during this administration, yet they cannot guarantee that the current network will survive. We have heard vague assurances about critical aviation links, but regional Australians know that critical is corporate code for profitable. We face a future where AirT could focus on select high-yield routes, leaving smaller towns even more isolated. Look at the cost being borne by our local communities right now. Rex owns several regional airports managed by local councils. The City of Albany is owed $456,000. The Shire of Esperance is owed $440,000. Under this deal, it is doubtful those funds will ever be repaid. The Labor government is effectively asking ratepayers in regional towns to forgive bad debt because the Commonwealth failed to manage the aviation framework correctly. The collapse of Bonza and the administration of Rex have left us with a sector that is more concentrated than ever. The Qantas Group and Virgin Australia now hold a combined 98.3% of the market. This duopoly is suffocating competition. And what is Labor's response to this concentration and soaring costs? A review. The Treasurer has asked the Productivity Commission to investigate why regional Australians are suffering high airfares. This is laughable, Speaker. Speaker, they don't need 18 months in a series of public hearings to tell us why airfares are high. I will tell you, prices are high because competition has been decimated by rising costs under this government. The Minister's aviation white paper found that the average ticket price per kilometre was 52 cents higher for regional flights than capital city routes. In Grey, in regional South Australia, in the outback, we know this. We live this. Yet this government's solution is to wait for a report that won't arrive for a year and a half. By the time that report lands, how many more routes will have vanished? How many more airports will close? And Speaker, I'd like to know why an airport like Whyalla, which only receives 1 flight some days, needs 8 staff for security screening. I'm sure the people of Whyalla would happily come to the airport 20 minutes earlier if they halved the cost of security from $60 to $30. Even better, Speaker, share the cost of security across every airfare in Australia. Speaker, we are staring down the barrel of a future where regional travel is becoming a luxury for the wealthy, not a service for regional communities. The government has botched the transition of air services. They have withdrawn programs that support regional airlines with capital upgrades and security screening costs. They have sat on their hands while fees and charges rise, hurting the ability of smaller carriers to compete with the big players. We need a government that understands that aviation is not just about Qantas and Virgin fighting the city routes. We need one that understands it's also about the staff at Anna Creek Station, Indigenous communities on the APY lands and the students in Port Lincoln. Speaker, regional Australia deserves better than a government that just manages decline while airfares fall from the sky.
And I thank the member.